First off, hear kind of how you came to our industry, what your growth has been like, both as an agent and someone who's now, growing your own big team. And so just real quick, can you, like 90 seconds, can you tell us how you came to the industry?
Yeah. Hey guys, I first joined about 3.5 years ago. I was with another IMO. How I got learned to this industry was two of my friends passed away and had no life insurance. As you can tell, I'm not a young pup. I was 58, and that raised the question about that we needed life insurance because I had my own company outside of this. So I had a consulting company and a school for 22 years in the IT industry. So very successful on my, on the smaller, grander scale. I mean, we did about, between my wife and myself, about 700,000 a year. So it's not that we were hurting for money, but it wasn't a residual income. When I got introduced to this business, it was with another IMO where it's all about your warm market only, family, friends, and basically selling them a dream that doesn't exist.
Sure.
I lasted 3 months with them, and I was about to quit the whole industry because I thought it was a bunch of crap. I'll be honest, not real. Everybody I met, except for a couple of people, made no money. Right. And I came from an industry where I trained people how to get jobs in the IT industry, to go work at Microsoft and Boeing and AT&T. I built a school, trained over 1,600 people, and I had a very comfortable lifestyle. I didn't have to go to work if I didn't want to. I worked out of my shop. Right. I would go see my clients when I had to, and it was pretty easy going. But when I really got introduced to this business, I saw a really big picture. And the big
Sure.
picture is, if I could have trained 1,600 people and only got a small percentage off every sale they ever did or every hour they ever worked in the IT industry, I would have made, I calculated about 12 to 15 million a year.
Right.
Instead, I trained them. They went and got jobs. They made some other company very rich.
Right.
And so I had a lot of pleasure in helping people. When I learned of this opportunity, I was like, okay, I like this. I love helping people. I love coaching and teaching, and I'm very good at recruiting. And so I knew I had to lead by example by going in the field. And I struggled at first. I wrote
Sure.
25,000 my first month. Out of that, only 5,000 was issue paid because I had no clue what I was doing, like zero. First year, did 270,000. Nothing to be bragging about. 90,000 was an annuity. So it looked pretty on paper, but reality is I was only writing about 15,000 in business. Second year, I wrote 420,000 and built an agency. Now, my advice to everybody, it's you got to lead by example, right? So if you plan on recruiting and building an agency, you have to be able to get out there and do it yourself so you can coach people on how it's done.
Sure.
Recruiting if you're not going to do it.
Sure. Well, yeah, tremendous story. So, Brian, first thing I want to ask, so obviously was this your first dip into the sales industry, like the insurance in general?
Insurance.
Had you ever done?
No, I've never done
Yeah.
this before.
Okay.
I
And
thought nobody
so,
made money.
say it again.
I thought nobody made money in this business.
Right. Sure. And so 270 your first year. So like you said, you had a lot of hurdles to come through, obviously being a business owner and then coming to the sales industry. What were some of those big, like right at the beginning, learning curves you had to give over, completely switching industries?
Well, first off, I had to put my ego in check because I already was built a business that was doing well over $1 million a year, and you get a fat head. And I didn't
Sure.
think I needed anybody to tell me how to do anything because I was stubborn. And that maybe comes with the military and my age, and and very high strung, I guess you can call it. So one of the things I had to do was just shut up and listen, and that was hard at first because to me booking appointments was easy because I didn't care if I got told no. It was a numbers game, and my
Sure.
my hardest thing was to be coached on how to get better and deal with everything that was happening around me because there was a lot to learn, and you have to be able to sit back. And what finally I think did it for me was I sat back and I looked at Ivan and everybody else that was so successful, and I said, well, why am I trying to reinvent anything? Right. And I think that was it, because like I was like I'm a numbers guy. And if you can see me post all the time, I post our numbers all the time. And it's all about like, where are we at, what we doing, right? How can I improve stuff? And I was trying to reinvent the wheel, and
Sure.
and it didn't work. I recruited 460 people my first year. And out of that, there might be only 10 that are still here
Mm,
because I didn't know how to get them going. I had no clue on how to get them started. I was good at hiring them because I told you I'm a good recruiter, but I couldn't convert them. And now we're doing
sure.
a better job now.
Yeah, 100%. So, okay. So yeah, so a lot there. So extremely pro tip there. And I think we see that from a lot of people, obviously this industry kind of attracts a little bit of everybody. It attracts younger people who got a lot of energy and are very naturally coachable because they haven't done anything. This also attracts people who are very skilled in a lot of different areas and see the potential. But just like you said, it can be very difficult to put that ego and pride aside, especially like in your case, had already accomplished quite a bit. And, it's hard to become that learner again. And so, what were the big things? So, obviously, putting your pride aside, what were the big things that you felt you had to learn that took you from, a quarter million your first year to being a Hall of Fame producer? Not just on paper, but in reality, it sounds like, actual life premium that second year. What were some of the big things that once you put your ego aside, you were able to learn?
The biggest thing there was just actually buying leads and getting appointments. And that's one of the things that almost everybody struggles with is they're so afraid to spend money. I was never afraid to spend money. I'd fly anywhere I had to build a business. I didn't care. And that probably cost me too, because I was flying too much and not running business my first year. I was going to every event they had because I wanted to learn. I was recruiting everywhere, but I'd recruit people and I forgot they existed. I didn't follow up. I was horrible at that. I'd answer
Sure.
my phone, but I didn't check on how they were doing. The big thing was just running business and learning how to get really, really good in the home. And we have we have the best trainers and best coaches anywhere bar none. People don't use them. They don't watch their videos. They're afraid to go, wow, that guy does something, because you don't have to tie yourself to one person in this industry. So you're on Ivan's team, but you might have Brian Mendenhall, who's the guy, his in-home presentations are second to none. Then you have a whole bunch of people that give you so much insight. You have to learn to pick everybody and find out which guy is kind of close to my character and who I could copy myself into and use their model, because not everybody's a me, not everybody's a you, not everybody's an Ivan. So you have to be able to figure out, okay, how can I become me in this industry? And just do it.
Sure. Sure. 100%. So you found teachers that you related to. And, like a lot of top producers, it's simple. We want to try to make it complicated. You say, well, to be a little bit better, I was just buying more leads. And it sounds like you were just working more. So that second year, you said, hey, I'm going to buy more leads and focus a little more on my personal production to kind of set the example. And those things right there took you to Hall of Fame. Is that right?
That is true. So I sat at my first year, I got invited to the top producers dinner, and I saw Ivan, everybody there, and it was kind of cool. And Grady had wrote over 400 and some thousand, almost 500 that year. And I went up to him and I said, Grady, so what was your secret? He said, how many leads do you buy a week? I said, 1,200. He said, double it. And so I tripled it.
Yeah.
And I wrote 365,000 in the first 6 months of last year. And then I decided to move to Texas. And so now I'm in beautiful Texas and I love it. But that really put a halt to my production. And I was actually not even thinking of running back in the field until my wife sat down and said, don't you want to be Hall of Fame? I went, yeah. I said, well, you better go back to work. So I went back in the field and working 1 day a week. I wrote basically about 65,000, working 1 day a week for the next 6 weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so very good. Yeah, it's funny. I do a lot of these, Hall of Famer, podcasts and interviews. And whenever I've been with somebody like yourself who's been in maybe for a few years, and I ask someone, what was that upgrade you did, to bring yourself to Hall of Fame? The answer is always the same. It was I bought more leads and I ran 30 appointments. Like I pretty much just did what everyone in FFL says to do, and it worked out. So sounds like that's your experience.
And that's the secret to this business. I mean, everybody wants to know what that secret sauce is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember Nick Ayala was saying, he says he tried to reinvent it as well. And I think that when you come from another business and you're successful, you try and take your traits that you had over there and you try to implement them here. And sometimes they don't work. So when
Sure.
I look at what people were doing, it's very simple. Buy leads, get in front of more people, and learn how to door knock, learn how to work your leads. Like my first year, I was horrible at door knocking. I was horrible at, because I didn't do it. It's not horrible. I just didn't do it. I said, I'll just book 40 appointments and run them. And if nobody's there, who cares? I'll recruit. Well, my second year, I was on a mission. I said, okay, I got to hit Hall of Fame. I have to do this because I can't ask anybody to do something I'm not willing to do. So my 17 years in the military, you lead by example. You're in the front of the field, you go to war, right? Well, here, nobody shoots at you, right? So you have no excuses, seriously. It's all it is
Sure.
where do you want to be? And then what are you going to do to implement it? And the only person you can ever blame is yourself. Look in that mirror and say, would I hire me or would I fire me for what I'm doing? Most people would fire themselves if they were honest, because
Sure.
they want to work 3 hours a day and get the results of a 14 or 15-hour day.
Right.
I know for a fact, if you look at Ivan and his background, and this is like, if you think about somebody that English is not their first language and they're a Hall of Famer and they did 10 million, that takes any excuse anybody else has out the door. Seriously.
Right.
Right.
What are you going to say? Yeah.
What can you say? The guy, well, your English is perfect. And come on, seriously, right? Or my English is not good, or I'm too old, or I'm too young. Well, I'm 60. I'm going to be 61 this year, right? Oldest guy to cross Hall of Fame last year. That means somebody's got to beat me. And then we had a young lady that was, 21, hit Hall of Fame. So between the two of us, we eliminated every excuse that you have about age.
Right.
Because there is no excuse. It's the people that win are the ones that go to work. And they don't complain about the leads. They don't complain. And honestly, we all have it. People complain all the time. I just tell them, I said, listen, I have no time. Go get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Stop blaming something else.
Yeah, 100%. That's phenomenal advice. So to boil it all down for someone that's coming into this industry and either they, maybe they're just that personality type, they think they know how to do it better, or maybe they've come from a good chunk of success and, they're just tempted to believe, I've run things before, I can kind of reinvent the wheel like yourself, like Nick Ayala, people who are already successful. What would you say to those people? How much do you believe in the FFL structure and the way that we tell people to run this business?
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. Adam, who's on my team, he was a CEO in the healthcare industry. They let him go just as COVID was starting to hit full-time health industry, and they released him, right?
Wow.
And so he was looking at new ways to make money. He was going through a bad divorce. He was like, when he met me, he literally come up and said, hey, I got 25 grand in my name. I have to make this much a month. Otherwise, I'm going to go bankrupt. And this guy is the CEO. He had a couple hundred people that were reporting to him.
Wow.
And so I sat with him and I said, listen, okay, this is what you got to do. If you don't do it, don't blame me. But you're going to buy $2,500 a week in leads. You're going to run 30 appointments a week minimum. And you're going to hire yourself a dialing team because you're going to have to run 6 days a week. So he's booking about 60 appointments a week. And he's spending $4,000 a week. And right now his issue paid for this month, and this is just like, we're not quite finished the 4th week. I'll tell you right now, hang on here. Adam is at $56,243 issue paid so far. He's written 51 apps. And
awesome.
Lindsay, who's on his team, another hungry young person, no experience at all, has never worked in this industry. She's already written 17,000 issue paid.
Wow, that's awesome.
Brand new agents. But it's all about getting to believe and be coachable.
100%. 100%. So this is a perfect segue in my next portion here. So obviously you've defined yourself as a top producer, and now you are, well into building a team and creating other top producers. So let's go into that. So I love what you said because it's just so telling. So you said coming into this industry your first year, you recruited 460 people, but only 10 of them may be with us today. So obviously you have learned a ton between when you started in this industry and where you are now. Please give us some of the big aha learning moments, things that you learned to make a 180-degree turn and transition into where you are now.
So what we do now is when I interview, and I still interview almost every licensed agent that I hire personally. I don't put them on my team. I find out who they're a good match for. Is I tell them, if you're not going to buy leads, I don't want you. Plain simple. Because if somebody questions about the leads, I say, listen, I think we're done. And they go, well, no, I said, you're questioning right now why you're going to spend money on leads. I said, go to that other company that you want to leave from and just stay there because they give you a bunch of free stuff and let them make the profits off your back. Well, I don't like that. Then you're going to have to invest in leads.
Right.
And I tell people, they go like, well, especially people are coming from another industry and they say, well, I got no money for leads. I said, yeah, you do. I said, you're just afraid to invest it. You don't believe in yourself. That's why I said, believe in the system, because the system does work for people that actually plug into it. I know Sean Mike doesn't like the word plug into it. If you actually learn this system and you jump in with both feet into the deep end of the pool, you will learn how to swim. Trust me, because you have no choice. You don't have a choice. The people that have a partner at home that has a really good job and they don't have to survive off this, they struggle with this industry because it's work. But if this is your lifeline and you're the one at the bottom of the pool, you're going to climb your way out. I don't care who you are. You will climb your way out of that pool because you have no choice.
Oh, you're right. When I got into this industry and I was brand new and I had just a couple grand, if I had a lead that I had called 10 times wasn't answering, I'm like, I paid $30 for this lead. I'm going to go knock on this door in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. I need to make this work, so you're 100% right.
Yeah. And the other thing is I always tell people when I'm recruiting them, I said, listen, I will answer my phone. I think one of the biggest struggles that we have in this industry and throughout the industry, and what I've heard, because a lot of people will come to me and they're from FFL already and they're not happy. The biggest thing I hear is that nobody helps them. Nobody talks to them when they're in the home. If you're going to recruit somebody and you're going to start building an agency, you have to be there for them. There's no excuse. If they need help, you got to help them. That means if they're in the home and you can't answer that phone call, like I always tell them, I said, you text me 911. So right now I had a call from one of my agents. And obviously he's not in the home because I didn't get a text that said 911. If I would have put you guys on pause and I said, okay, tell me that I want to know their age, their name, and their health. That's it. Right. And so what I've coached my agents to do, and like even on our calls, I say, okay, use Americo as your prescription check. Right away. It takes 5 minutes and you know if you're going to be able to move forward or not. I said, and then you call me and then, because now I know you've already used Americo and they got denied. Now you're going to want to know, how can I pivot quickly? Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the ha-ha moments for me, is how to learn to pivot and then teach my agents how to pivot in the home.
Sure. So it sounds like, as far as what two of the big things that you've really learned that has helped your retention and helping your agents be Hall of Fame producers is, one, you are unapologetic about our culture of buying leads and going to work. You are looking for agents that want to be a part of this opportunity, and you're not trying to mold it to them.
No,
is that right?
Mold it to them, because all you're gonna do is ask them for a headache.
Right. And then two, it sounds like you're extremely supportive of your agents. You're answering all their calls. You're helping them in the home. You're following up.
Yeah, I will. I call it tough love sometimes. Right. You got to be very honest with them. And when they do good, you say so. And when they need corrections, you give them, because they don't work for me and they don't work for us. So I always tell them, if I ever act like your boss, I said, just tell me where to go. I'm okay. I've been in the military. I can handle it. Trust me. Right. Sure. I'm not your boss, but I'm also not going to sit back there and not, tell you, hey, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And try to make corrections. Because trust me, John would call me all the time. And at first I didn't want to listen. Let's just be honest. Right. I said, I built businesses. You haven't. What do you know? Well, he knew the insurance industry. I didn't.
Right.
I finally had to shut up and say, okay, now I have to listen to a guy. And he wanted me to win. That was like probably, I did not deserve John. Let's be honest. I did not deserve the help that he gave me because I was an asshole. Right. And I wasn't a very nice guy. And I look back now and I go, man, if I would have just shut up, where would I have been today? And just got coached in that first 6 months. That first 6 months is like your newborn baby. You can teach them so much.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to be taught. So that's one of the other things, guys, is when somebody's telling you how to do something, they're doing it because they did it and they know it works.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want, how bad do you want it? What is your who?
Right.
And what I mean by
Right.
that is, who are you building this for? It can be for you, or it could be for your family. It could be for a legacy.
Sure. So would it be fair to say that you developed this tough love mindset because you, just like John, for you want your agents to win, and you found out that I'm not doing them any favors, coddling them. They just need to know the truth and hear it because it's up to them. You know, they need to implement this if they're going to win.
And that's exactly it. And I'm there to support them and answer their phone calls. Now, if you got a new agent and they're asking you to do everything, I don't do it. I said, hey, first time I will help walk them through HCMS. I'll help them get their SureLC because not everybody's tech savvy. Not everybody understands computers. If you have somebody that's really good at getting them set up and contracting, you get them, and then you get them the paper apps. Now you just eliminated the 2 week, 3 week waiting period.
Right.
Let's get you going. Let's get you out in the field, right? Andrew Taylor said that out, give them paper apps. That's a no-brainer. Right? Help your agent win, because if they make money, they're not going anywhere.
Right. And then that's perfect. So that I'm glad you say that because it feeds into my next question. So say we have some people who are new builders, maybe they've come in, they've gotten some success themselves, and now they're trying to grow an agency. And they say, hey, just like Brian, I want to be supportive of my team. I want to help them win. But maybe I've got somebody that I'm not sure if this is someone who is really worth the time I'm putting in, you know, as far as like what they're giving me. Like if this is someone who just needs more help, or if this person is just kind of, they're not going to do anything, they're just kind of like sucking my time. How do you make that differentiation? What advice would you give that person to help them understand who they should be investing in?
Well, I'd say if you don't know your numbers, and I probably ask everybody here, how much is your team done this week? How much have they submitted and how much they're issue paid? And are their policies good or bad? Because you can see who's working.
Sure.
We can see in CRM who buys leads. You can look in and you can see everybody on your team, how much leads they're buying. So you can't say you don't have the information is at hand. You just don't know how to go dig it up. My luxury is I have an IT background, so I figured out how to go and get my numbers right away. I wanted to know
Sure.
what my guys are doing, what everybody on the team is doing. Because if
Mhm.
somebody's working hard and they're writing business, we can coach them how to write good business. If somebody's making a lot of appointments, but they're not having success in the home, we can coach them how to get better in the home. If they're not dialing, we can't coach them how to get better. We could direct them, say, listen, you start doing this, I'm here for you. If you don't, call me when you do. Because I have a lot of
Sure.
other agents that demand my attention. Let's just call it what it is.
Sure.
My builders are on the phone. Like Jessica and I, up until a certain point, we talked every day. The minute she hit SVP, she was too busy with her team. We just talk maybe once a week and just to see how everything's going, because we've developed an incredible friendship and business relationship together. Now I have Adam, Larry, Isvon. These are team builders. They're out in the field running, right? They're hiring like crazy. And now I got to coach and mentor them how to help them grow their business, because I want them to win so they can start teaching their agents how to win.
Sure. Sure. So it sounds like, again, you are unapologetic about our hard work culture. And you're saying if someone's coming to you and they need help, if they are doing what you've told them, they're putting in the work, they're dialing, they're going to appointments, you're going to keep supporting them to help them do it better. But if you're got someone who's just making excuses why they can't or won't do it, you're just saying, hey, you're repeating the information to them and say, when you decide to do that, then you come back, and then you kind of cut them off.
I do.
Is that fair to say?
That is very fair to say. I tell them if they've hired people, I said, your agent is working, then they will blow past you.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you're going to promote me. I said, no, I won't. That's not how the system was built. The system was
Yeah.
built for workers, people that want to work and get ahead and help each other. Once you get to a certain level, I said, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to pass you. But if you hire 10 agents and you're not in the field working, and you have an agent that's super hungry and they're going to write 30,000 a month consistently, I said, they're going to blow past you.
Sure. 100%.
I said,
So
so that should be a wake up call.
yeah, absolutely. And so going into that, so this is a little bit of a next level question, because obviously you're not just a leader, you're a leader of leaders. So now you have these people who are SVPs growing their own teams. And so I know we have several people, in this group and that are going to listen to this that are getting there. And so that's a little bit of a next level of leadership, because now you're just not instructing people how to write and, helping them. You're instructing people how to help others and, how to help them. What would you say were some of your biggest learns from that helped you be successful there to help other people be leaders of leaders?
You have to identify the leaders themselves. People will, like I said, we're not born leaders. Nobody is.
Sure.
Right? We learn how to do it. I had the luxury of serving in the Air Force and they taught me discipline. And through the years, I learned how to lead and be aircrew commander on board our P3s, right, with a lead. And
wow.
When I got in the IT industry, it was no different. You find out who your natural leaders are. They are people that you can tell them what to do. They're going to go do it, and they lead by example. This business is no different. I look for people that are running the business, learning, and asking questions. If they're not asking questions, right, sometimes I call it, I'll drop a bait line in front of them, see how they react. Do they bite? Do they want to grow? Do they want to do this? Because you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do, guys. That's just truth.
Sure.
I have people, I say, I don't want to build an agency. I said, perfect. I need people like you. And we do. But if I have somebody says, I want to build a team, how do I do it? I said, are you coachable? Because you're going to do stuff that you're going to not understand or agree with. And I said, but that's how you want to build it. And that's why it makes sense. And I always look up. I look up to see what Ivan's doing, what Matt's doing, what John's doing, what Luke's doing, right? Nick Aiello, what they're doing. I'm going, okay, I want to emulate those guys. I want to emulate the guys that have already won, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what did they do to win? Well, first off, they didn't reinvent the wheel. They just
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. So you're identifying who wants to be a leader. You're not trying to put it on anybody. You're looking for people who are already looking for that themselves, and you're empowering them once you find them.
Yep. And then I help build the crap out of them.
Sure. That's awesome. Well, hey, John, I really appreciate your time. What are you doing now as a team? What's your team volume been last couple
we're
months?
About to break the million mark.
Very awesome.
So right now we're tracking, we're doing 28,800 a day. It's a 5-week month, so that's kind of a helping hand, I guess. But we'll do about little over 1 million. I don't count it as board member yet because it's a 5-week month. When we do it in a 4-week month, then I'll celebrate.
Yeah. It's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then what's your goal for the rest of the year? Where are you hoping to be by the end of this year?
The end of the year will be about 2.5 million.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Brian, I appreciate your time so much. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on. We have a lot of people on this call, everybody from, on this call and that are going to watch this call, a lot of people from that are just starting and, and that are, brand new, about to hit the field. And then we have people who are, like myself, are growing a team and stuff like that. What would be a parting shout that you would give that you think would be a blessing to all those people, no matter where they are in the industry, that would help them?
First off, believe that you can do it. That's foremost. If you don't think you can do it, you've already shot yourself in the foot. Don't tell yourself you're going to try and do it because you're just giving your excuse to not do it. Because, hey, I tried, it didn't work. My advice for everybody is anyone can do this if you put the work into it. So I get up every day right before 5, and my day doesn't end until I pass out at around 10. Now, that doesn't mean I'm sitting down or whatever. I am available all that time. And
Mhm.
you have to be putting that effort into this industry. You have to learn it. Strictly
For sure.
get up early, watch as many videos as you can when you're on the road, reach out to people, learn this business, right? There's so many good teachers out there that you can copy from and practice and get better. And if you're recruiting, be there for your team.